Hello, welcome back. So today what we're going to do is we're going to create a two-page document that is 11 by 17 horizontal. So if I go to print and I go to tabloid and I see my 11 by 17 and I switch, click on that and switch to horizontal, I'm going to unclick facing pages. It's going to be a two-page document, but I'm just going to leave it at one for right now. I'm going to go to my margins, and you'll notice that these margins are all even, and if I click, it moves them all incrementally the same. If I unclick this right here, then I can change these dimensions. So on the left-hand side, I want to create a chunkier margin. We often bind things on the left, and we work left to right, so it's nice to have a little bit extra room on the left. And I'm also going to add some more space to the bottom. It helps to, same reason, give it a little bit more heft on the bottom. We can change these later. I'm just going to set them for now. I'm going to hit create. Okay, so now to insert text, we use the text tool and we create a text box and we go and we place text. So I have here a document already. Notice that I have page 1 and page 2. The pieces that are in parentheses are just directions for you. So I'm just going to grab the text for page 1 right now. I'm going to hit Command-C to copy. And I'm going to go back to my new document and I'm going to do Command-V to paste. Okay, so now I'm going to get rid of this page 1 right there. And I'm going to move this text out of the way for a moment. I'm going to show you, actually I'm going to use this text box here. I'm going to show you a little bit about how we can manipulate a text box. Okay, so even though this is a text box, you may think that you would go to the menu up here, the main menu that says text, to manipulate that box. But the program is set up where this is considered a box. So I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to go to text frame options. Okay, so this is a box we're going to go to often, so you want to write that down, put it on pause and write down text frame options. So I click on text frame options and it gives me the option of a number of columns. Okay, so I can change that number of columns and I can also change the gutter, which is in between there. So I'm going to make the gutter a 1/4 inch. The gutter default, I think, is too small. I always like to make it at least a 1/4 inch. And so it's going to give me 2 columns. So if I say OK, it's turned this text into 2 columns. I'm going to Command-Z for a moment and move this out of the way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to create a new text box. And this is just a cheat thing. I'm teaching you how to create text boxes, but at the same time, I'm going to teach you how to, a quick way to make guidelines. So here is my text box, and I need to create a grid on this page. So I am going to go up to Object, Text Frame Options, and I want to have 6 columns. So I'm going to hit 6, and I'm going to change my gutter to 0.25. And I'm going to say OK. So now it's all of a sudden given me these grid lines, but it's just in this text box, and I don't actually want to have this text box in the back. So I'm going to drag a grid line for each one of these boxes. So I'm dragging this grid line, and notice the way it sort of snaps in there, which is a beneficial option preset on the program. So it's helping me lock into there. And I'm dragging each one of these lines over. Okay, now I also need a horizontal line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this box, and I am going to hold down the Shift key. Notice how when I ride over here, I'm getting this rounded arrow. That's going to let me rotate, but I'm hitting the Shift key because I want to get at perfectly right angles, and I'm going to drag over here again. Now this grid might be too intricate, so I could go up to Option, Text Frame Options again, and I can change this to 5. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that it is actually lined up there so my boxes are all even. And again, I'm going to drag all of these lines over. Sorry, I lost my mind there for a moment. I was doing horizontal again instead of vertical. Sorry, vertical instead of horizontal. So I'm dropping my lines down to that back. I am dragging to create a line. So you can see my turquoise line over top of all of my blue lines. Okay, now I'm going to delete that box. I don't need it anymore. And under View, I have my guides, and I can lock my guides so they won't move around. They're just where I want them to be. Okay, so now when I bring my text back in here, I can move it around so that it fits within these guidelines. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add our images. Okay, so I'm going to unclick here. To add our images, we go up to File, Place, and we would browse to get to the folder. I've previously been in this folder, so it popped up for me, but I want to show you the way I organize my files. So I have Lily Teaching, so you'd have your class. I have it by the class, the week, and then assignment, okay? So I have assignment 2 here. I'm going to take the first image and I'm going to open. So now what I can do is I can click and drag, and I can drag it to fit in my grid. So I can notice it doesn't fit both horizontally and vertically in my grid. So I can look at the bottom and top, or I can size it to go with the width. I'm going to limit it to the top and bottom for right now. I'm going to unclick. It's very important that you unclick. And then I'm going to go to Place, grab another image, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click, and this one, I'm going to also go down to 2 lines and let it go. Okay, what happens if I don't unclick is when I go and I go to Place and I pick a new image, it can go and it replaces what I have there. Okay, so I'm going to hit Command Z, and I am going to click and drag this down. Okay, so another way that I can add images is I can unclick. I can put the box in first. So let me put a box in here, and I can go to Place. I can find an image, go to Open, and it automatically goes into that box. Okay, so it's a little more wonky to manage it, which I'll show you in a moment. So I'm going to go back and just, everything's unclicked now. I'm going to go back and place my last images, the first method I showed you where I click and drag. And there's one more, so I'm going to unclick and I'm going to place and make sure I've got the info to desk. So you should have 6 images. I'm going to click and add this in here. Okay, so here are my 6 different images that I am going to place in a pleasing arrangement on this page. So the first thing I do is I look at the relationship of these different images. So this is a book and this is a magazine ad. So if you think about the size of a book compared to a magazine ad, a book is generally a bit smaller. So I am going to click here and hold down Shift Command Option and make this relatively smaller and make this one relatively bigger. Now I showed you all these grid lines and I'm sort of not paying attention to them. I will revisit them again, but I want to get the relationship of my graphics together. I think the relationship of these two seems fine. Talk more is quite big, so I'm going to reduce this. This one, we have to go and look at this. So this, if I open these, you can see there's much more of this image here. So this is using the black arrow to open and move these handles, and I can move it around on the page. What I want to do is click the white arrow. And when I click on the white arrow, do you notice this gold line that shows up? I'm going to zoom out here for a moment. So this gold line shows me my whole image. It's like that blue line is an opening in the page, and this is showing me the image. So I can go up here where this gives me the percentage that my image is. So this image is 100%. This one is 68.3. They're all different percentages since I've been playing with them and shrinking them. So what I'm going to do is you can go in and incrementally change it, or you can use the arrows here and make a bigger giant movement. So here I did it at 50%, okay? So you can notice that there's actually 3 images in this one piece. I am going to go and the blue box is here. I'm going to crop this blue box around this one image, and I'm going to copy it and paste it. And I'm going to open up the smaller images and close this bigger image. So now I have actually more than 6 images. I've got these 2 as well. I'm only going to use one of these, I think. I'm going to shut the green one and just keep this red one here. And I'm going to open it so you can see the whole bottom and close this box up there. Okay. Now, the last image I have here is a page from a website, and it's, you can hardly see anything on here. So what I really need to do is make this one relatively bigger. So the relative scale of this should be much smaller because I can really see the details of that. The text is so big. And I might want to make both of these the same size, but maybe not. Okay. And then I am going to make this one a bit bigger. I don't know if you guys heard, but my cat broke into the office while I was doing this demonstration. Sorry for the disruption. Okay, so there we go. We've got the relative scale of these images here. So I am going to close out of this video and come back and revisit it with some more changes to it. Thank you.